is a presentation of TFNN. Nine before 9 with John Logan. 9 minutes on the stock market before 9 a.m. every trading day. Call now, toll free, 877-927-6648, or internationally, 727-445-1044. Now, John Logan.
Hi guys, hope you're having a good morning, and we're going to cover quite a bit in the next 9 minutes. Gold, we're going to take a look at this one, and you know, there's only a couple of things to think about right now for me when it comes to what I think might be the high odds situation to try to back the truck up on, as somebody in the den said one time. You know, gold is really been defending 1260 and a half, and when you look at what's going on and the uncertainty of how hard they're going to try to juice the system, being the Trump administration, you know, you got to just, man, you got to take a shot here. You got to just thank God this thing pulled back to a killer place to buy it. I mean, that's the, I mean, I hate to be so over the top biased with this, but putting stops down below 1260, you got to take a shot at this. The dollar's looking like, you know, I'm putting two and two together here. The dollar, kind of thinking about all this stuff going on, debt going through the roof, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the dollar looks like to me, and we've talked about this for a while, that 97.15 may be kind of a foregone conclusion here. Gold's going to love that, of course. Looking at the 10-year, this is so wild. You know, the 10-year reached its targets that we talked about on that weekly, just really almost to the tick up there for that run up to complete the fair auction on the weekly. But, you know, you're looking at this and you're going, how in the world can rates hang around down here? And then you look at the 10-year and you're like, man, this thing should be coming off. So as we look at this 125.20, I think getting across the border there, there's so many people who are short treasuries right now. It almost looks like we may revisit those weekly unfair highs, believe it or not, on the 10-year. So just keep all that in mind. But I think, you know, all things considered, even though gold kind of like jerked around this morning already down below, you've got just a sick situation here. We were right as rain on leveraging off this 1150 area before, and, you know, really kind of the profiles told us we were supposed to wait patiently until we took that short trade off, and then it was okay to get back in the water. But that dollar kind of predicated that move up and started that, you know, climb that was just unbelievable. Now we've broken above that previous level, and we're coming back and retesting, and you really, it doesn't get any better than that. So I hate to fall in love with something, but that's a pretty good, you know, you might want to trade that with options, because, you know, putting a hedge on for that and just kind of getting through the noise, because I'm not the only person that's seeing this action, of course. You know, it may do a couple of fake outs, but you know, the action's good and the external environment is really good for this particular trade. Copper, I want to go back to this. This is something that should be reacting a little bit better. I mean, you just got to wait for weekly closes on this. This has been a little frustrating to me on the copper trade. So weekly close above 2577 is going to be kind of cool. Dollar's going to float down a little bit, and that won't, you know, bode terribly for copper going up just by default action. But I like the technical situation on copper. I've kind of changed my mind a little bit on that one, back and forth, but you know, weekly closes are a big deal. Here's beans. So we talked about, you know, waiting patiently until we got to a battle point, 950 and a half. We reached a low of 952, got in that neighborhood, it bounced up a little bit. So, you know, I'm not so opposed to trying to, you know, back and fill a little bit up north here on beans right now, just for a trading opportunity. Here's the dailies. We're at the bottom of a profile again. Make sure you put your stops in if you're going long beans. I like John's attitude towards that, who calls into the show every once in a while about grains. He's just super knowledgeable. Lottery tickets up top. And, you know, when it happens, it happens. It's hard to time some of these grain trades in this season. Take a look at the S&Ps. All right, so poked our head above. NASDAQ obviously making new highs. The big number that you could probably play around with here is 2386, but this is so terrifying to be short up here. And when you look at the scanner and look at the metrics, I mean, there's not a lot of discourse, or excuse me, things that are not in concert, put it that way, that are, let me just blow this up here for you. I mean, we're getting into almost an overextended area, but not yet happening. I think we're just going to goose the top of the market on the S&Ps and do one more move up. The tax news is probably going to be, again, some euphoric, get all the shorts and under the sun out of the S&Ps, and then we might start looking at a cave-in. I think we've got one more good spike up here, and that may be like 2 or 3 weeks of a spike up. When we get the signals relative to the profiles and relative to the breadth calculations, that aggregate profile breadth calculation, then we'll know that it's okay to get in the water on the short side. Let's wait until that happens. If it starts caving in now, you still got some great opportunities. Just being patient here, let somebody else kind of bang their head against the wall and figure out the top of the market. That's extremely difficult to do, as you know. All right, crude. We talked about maybe a couple of different ways to trade crude from the long side, except going long crude itself. This is why there wasn't a lot of reasons to try to step into crude at all. That's the daily. Here's the weekly. We look at the scanner. Here it is. And we were in some of the crude stocks yesterday. Let's just kind of check and see how they did. Okay, so EQT Corp, of course, is insanely strong looking. A couple other ones that were on our screen. Let's just take a look at WMB. This is one that we also looked at yesterday to kind of Williams Companies. Here we go. How do you trade, some energy stocks with some leverage instead of just kind of taking a shot on crude? This is an easy way to do this. Just kind of drill down into the scanner, find the relatively strong and relatively weak stocks. All right, guys. Didn't have a chance to cover currencies today. I'm going to hit the euro really quick here. Here's a chart on it. Still got a ways to go. I like how it's kind of planing off up here to make another leg up. That dollar pulling back to 97 and some change. It's going to bode pretty well. Your targets on this trade, 111.41. I can't believe I'm talking about the euro going up, but it looks like it's going to happen. Basil's going to be doing Larry's show today. Stay tuned. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. I learn something every time I listen to that man. He's unbelievable. And you guys have a great day-to-day trading. And I'm still having trouble timing the end of the show here, as you can tell. Another currency, the yen. I still think we may actually go a little bit higher here, but watch out. We're at an inflection point on the yen, 111.67. Can't seem to get through there. Stay tuned for Basil, guys.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his Opening Call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the Opening Call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.